All right. First, when you're an election winner, you don't tend to put a magnifying glass on the reasons why you won, right? Although in Labor's case, with only 30-odd% of the primary vote, they might be best to spend some time analysing what they did badly and why they won by default. When you lose, however, having a review and an honest appraisal of what went wrong is par for the course, and you've got to be honest. But sometimes losers can't admit their role in the losing or what their team really did to cop a hammering. Take Labor's Kristina Keneally, who's not kept her promise and remained living in the district of Cabramatta in Sydney after the election. That was never going to happen. Kristina has returned to her luxurious Scotland Island home on Pittwater, as we all knew, and looks to be stocking up for winter. But she's conducted her first interview since her loss in the seat of Fowler, a shuddering loss and swing against her and the party of 18%. Now, in the Herald today, she blamed her collapse on, wait for this, COVID lockdowns. COVID lockdowns, I kid you not. Quote, the most important factor was COVID and its impacts. Fowler had the harshest and longest lockdowns in the state, supported by both Liberal and Labor, and there was an understandable sense of anger at both parties, with people reacting with a pox on both your houses. What a complete load of codswallop. It was a pox on the Labor House only because it had no respect for the migrant communities in the seat of Fowler and arrogantly thought a wealthy, failed New South Wales Premier who lived in the privileged Pittwater area, 45 kilometres away, would hold a suburban Labor stronghold. What did Richo say on election night about Keneally campaigning on the local streets?
You can't keep dumping candidates on people, especially when she's like an alien when it comes to walking around the Fairfield shops. You know, she's the only one in the $2,000 dress.
I'll get to Richo a little bit later in the program. As a former resident of that district, I can tell you the Vietnamese community has been waiting since way back in 1975 to have one of their own represent them in the federal parliament. It was a disgrace that the member for McMahon, Chris Bowen, who lives nearby, pushed the party hard to parachute Keneally into Fowler with obviously no regard or understanding of what the people in that seat wanted or deserved. And they deserved it. And now, as the dust settles from the election, Keneally's mindset is still refusing to accept the bleeding obvious. She was an alien in that area. She was soiled goods off the back of the Mean Girls episode. And the electorate desperately wanted a Vietnamese-born local to represent them. And look what the Deputy Mayor of Fairfield, Di Lay, was able to achieve. Even after starting the campaign late, an 18% thrashing of federal Labor's favourite former senator. This was Anthony Albanese's only admission on the Fowler disaster today.
The lessons are very clear that the community sent a message. Kristina Keneally's a big loss to our team. She was a valued friend. She was the Deputy Senate Leader, and it is a loss, but you have to accept outcomes in democratic processes, but you also have to learn from them, and we will take note of the lessons which are there.
Learn a lesson. Well, he better not ask Kristina for feedback on what they learned from the Fowler loss, because she still can't admit the truth or the reasons why it's still COVID lockdowns to her. As One Nation's Mark Latham reminded the Twitter sphere today, in Chris Bowen's seat next door, where they also faced strict lockdowns, the Labor primary vote increased by 1.5%. Completely delusional, he wrote. Narcissistic on steroids, he tweeted. One parachuting operation did work for Labor, but the circumstances were vastly different and can't be contrasted. Andrew Charlton moved out of his Vaucluse mansion and was parachuted into Parramatta, but he faced an out-of-electorate Liberal as his main rival. And Labor promised the world to the people of Parramatta at the same time. As I say, the winners in this election need to be rather retrospective and introspective as well, because there's no overwhelming victory here. None. And the lesson from Fowler is as clear as day, just not so clear in the mind of the vanquished.